Shopping for fabric on Amazon. Should we do it? Should we buy our sewing supplies on Amazon? This video is sort of a pros and cons list approach to that tricky question. Hey there, sewing friends. Today I am diving into the world of fabric shopping on Amazon, and I have some thoughts to share. So join me in this video as we explore the pros and the cons of sourcing our sewing supplies and or fabric from the giant e-commerce platform. But before we get into the thick of it, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and follow and join us on our sewing adventures. I have a lot of fun here and I hope that you will too. So let's get started. So let's set the scene. Recently, I embarked on a fabric buying journey from someplace that I thought I would never buy fabric from, and that's Amazon. I'm gonna let you know about my experience buying fabric on Amazon, what worked, what didn't, what was annoying, what was nice. And I'm also gonna show you how I used it for the Love Notion's new releases, the Clef Coat patterns, the base clef and the treble clef. Before we get too far in, let's talk about the patterns that I used with this fabric and these supplies, the base and the treble clef coats. They're the new release from Love Notions. They're based on the ladies wear clef coat that recently came out in January. I made my clef coat in this like beautiful purple lavender color. And it was such a hit that my husband and my daughter both requested their own. And so I delivered. I used the men's base clef and for my husband, and the kids treble clef for my daughter. They love them. The great thing is that both of those patterns are on sale right now until March 11th, so don't miss out on them. And you can find out more about those patterns in the previous video. But now let's talk about this video's content, and that's all about getting supplies and fabric on Amazon. Amazon is a tempting place for me to order from. I order tons of stuff in my home from Amazon. And when it came to sewing this project, I realized that I needed to give Amazon a try and see what it was actually like. And I wanted to share with you some of the pros and the cons that I discovered when I was putting together these projects. So just to give you some backstory, I wanted to replicate my original purple clef coat that I showed you just a second ago for both my husband and my daughter in the base and the clef sizing. So I looked around at a independent shop and I found a couple of pieces that were good, but they weren't going to get here in time for the release. And that's sort of part of my job and I had to get it done pretty quickly. So I turned to Amazon and I actually bought quite a bit of different pieces from Amazon. Let me just show you a couple of things that I've bought previously from Amazon for sewing projects. I have bought things like sewing tools. These are the Kai 7250 shears. These are like gorgeous shears. I highly recommend them. I bought mine on Amazon. I have bought bias tape on Amazon before. I've bought fray check before. One thing recently that I bought was horsehair. It actually came in this big giant roll of it. I think this was like $8 or something. I bought this horsehair braid for making a kind of a stiff hem for my recent Encore skirt. So I am no stranger to purchasing on Amazon. And if you ask my husband, I would say more than is probably needed comes to our house from Amazon. So I'm used to shopping there. And when it came to the project for my husband and my daughter, I decided to go with this experiment and I ordered a canvas fabric from their selection. And I also ordered some lining fabric. So the canvas fabric that I got is, it looks like this. It was from a retailer. I guess they have like third-party retailers that are on their platform. It's sort of like Etsy. And the retailers there can set the prices and they do all of the, putting things together for people, but they use Amazon's logistics to get it out there. I was able to order a olive green canvas as well as this like charcoal gray canvas. There was like a pretty good selection of places, different sort of third-party fabric suppliers within the Amazon platform to choose from. And they all had really fast shipping for the most part. I know that related to fabric, that Amazon had acquired fabric.com a while ago. And so they've got that giant catalog of pieces and product, as well as a whole bunch of third-party suppliers. So if there's anything that you're looking for in terms of fabric, you could probably find it on Amazon. Now, the way that that worked in terms of buying fabric from Amazon, they had, at least for this particular supplier, they had their fabric listed in 1 yard cuts and 2 yard cuts. But other than that, you couldn't get any continuous yardage. So for my daughters, I ordered 2 cuts of the olive green, 2 yards, just because it came faster that way instead of buying a continuous 2 yard cut. It was a really reasonable price. I think I paid like $20 total for all of that fabric. I'm really pleased with the quality of the fabric. Both of the cuts were from the same place, and all of them, what I thought was kind of nice was, at least from this supplier, they all came with like the edges serged. I'm sure that with every retailer on the Amazon platform, it would be different, but that was my experience with buying the canvas fabric from them. Now, if you go on Amazon right now and search for basically any kind of fabric that you can think of, you're going to probably be able to find it there. Take a look at the speed of delivery. You'll have to take a look at whether it comes in continuous yardage, and the question of quality and reviews and stuff. That's always going to be something that is not quite as personal as getting a recommendation from someone that you know in real life. So just that's sort of the process of buying things as far as the fabric itself. I also purchased a lining fabric. Here's just a scrap left over of what I use. So for the clef coats, I installed a lining, and you can find out how to make your own lining for your clef coat versions using the tutorial that I have linked in a past video. It's so easy. It's just like a really nice way to finish the inside. It really doesn't require any new pattern pieces or really reshaping anything. So if you're interested in lining for just a more fully encased inside, take a look at that. But so I grabbed some lining fabric. Now this is something that I probably wouldn't be able to readily pick up at another fabric shopping place that I'm familiar with. So we have a lot of connections to fabric shops like around the world, really. Some relationships with those people. And I love that they're independently owned small businesses. That's pretty great. So we happily promote those when we are putting together new patterns, simply because a rising tide lifts all ships, right? So in the craft industry, it's sort of like a business that is related to us, and when they grow, we grow. So it's kind of a nice thing. So, and you don't really get that really with Amazon. So one of the things that we do to promote other small shops is we have a monthly fabric feature newsletter that features a shop that we've sewn personally with that we can recommend reliably to our customers. And we show them pieces that we've sewn in real life along with the fabric that we've gotten from a real person. And it's been a big hit. And actually the fabric companies all give us like a nice little coupon code to give to just our audiences. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you sign up for our newsletter. We feature fabric companies from around the world, really. And we're obviously based in North America, but we're so happy to share about small independent retailers. So one of the things that I found on Amazon that I don't typically find on other smaller shops is a piece like this. So this is kind of like a poly woven, slippery lining fabric. It is like a pre-quilted, but it's like kind of like pressed in, so there's no actual stitching on the inside. And this made a great lining fabric. If you look at the reverse side of it, it is like a poly cotton, not cotton, but like a polyfill sort of feel. And this is not something that you would want like next to your skin, but it is perfect. It's pretty thin and it just worked beautifully pairing this poly slippery lining pre-quilted fabric with the canvas. So I'm so happy with how that turned out. It was a really reasonable price. The shipping time was pretty good. And I ordered 4 yards total to split between my daughter's version and my husband's version. So on my husband's version, I lined the sleeves, the back, and the front pieces. And the hood, I used a different type of knit pre-quilted fabric that was just a little bit softer. And for my daughter's version, I lined the front pieces of the main body as well as the hood with sort of like this pre-quilted fabric here, just similar to how I did it for mine. And then the sleeves and the back body I did in this slippery woven. So it all worked out really nicely. Another thing that I bought on Amazon was, this isn't it, but I bought a separating zipper for my husband's piece. I actually had an extra one of these for my daughter, so I was good to go. But one of the things that's nice to buy on Amazon is notions like that. Typically when I go into, typically when I need a zipper, I like need it right then or like in the next day or two. So buying exactly what you need is great for using Amazon and getting it pretty speedily delivered. We would normally go through Wawak to buy stuff like elastic or zippers or buttons or things like that, but Amazon's been a pretty good resource in terms of having a variety of styles and options, as well as having speedy delivery. So that's been kind of a lifesaver for us for a few projects. So, and one of the things that is hard about zippers is that when you go into like Joann's or Hobby Lobby, that zipper selection is not great. Finding a separating metal zipper is hard, and then finding it in the correct lengths is really hard too. So I'm glad that I was able to use Amazon for finding notions like that. Another thing that I realized that I needed was some twill tape, and I needed this to install the drawstrings for my daughter's version. So I was able to order that really quickly. One of the things that Tammy had gotten a while back that I thought was so cool was this collection of drawstrings. So I was able to use her collection of drawstrings. It's a big variety bag, like a bulk bag. I think there's got to be like 30 in here. And it's got the metal tips. So it's like perfect for like sliding through the channel or the grommet or the eyelet or whatever you install. And these are great. They're nice and thick, they're sturdy. I thought that they were a perfect fit for my clef coat and my husband. So I was able to use those drawstrings for mine and my husband's coats. My daughter's, I needed a different color, and that's why I got the twill tape. But it came in like this big giant bag of them. Now, the problem with buying in bulk like this is you're gonna get a bunch of colors in here that you don't really need. So that, I mean, I don't know when we're gonna be able to use like a neon green drawstring. So that's sort of a drawback, but the price was incredible. And it even came with this like little tool to thread the drawstring through the channel. This tool was like garbage. So I wouldn't buy a pack of drawstrings just for a tool like this. The other thing that we got that I thought was really cool for this project was a selection of eyelets. Now I think this is another one of those things that Amazon is really convenient for, is finding tool sets like this, where you've got like a huge amount of pieces, and there's just always sets like that, like for bias tape or for buttons or for rivets, or just like all of those little tiny details that go into making a project really, pop and be polished. Amazon has a lot of tools like that that are speedily available. This one actually came with the tools to cut the hole and to install it, which is not the case for some of the tools that you might get at Hobby Lobby or Joann's. My first one I had, I think these might be like 3/8 inch little, I don't know if you can see it, 3/8 grommets installed for the drawstring. But I ordered, this is the problem with not being able to see things in real life. I ordered a set of grommets, and they're just a little bit smaller than I probably would have gotten. They definitely worked, but it's, you know, just one of the things you're not able to see in person to get a good idea of what you're going to be having. So those are all the things I believe that I ordered on Amazon. So now I want to kind of go through some of the pros and the cons for this whole process. So what are the pros for shopping on Amazon? First of all, it's got to be that lightning fast shipping. Amazon is renowned for having pretty speedy deliveries. I live near, I think, multiple warehouses from Amazon, and sometimes I can even get my order within a couple hours. So that's perfect for last minute projects. Another pro is that they've got a huge selection. Because Amazon's acquired fabric.com and they have acquired and work with a bunch of other third-party retailers, they have lots and lots and lots and lots of options. Another perk for ordering from Amazon is the order tracking that you have and the really easy returns process. So the ability that they give you to track orders within the app or on the website, and being able to navigate through past purchases, it's a total, I mean, it's not a game changer, but it's a really good thing. And Amazon's return policy in general is really generous. And I feel really comfortable returning anything that doesn't quite fit the bill. And because the fabric that I ordered came in like separate yard quantities, if I didn't use one of those yards that I had ordered, I would be able to return it. And that's definitely a perk that you're not going to find on other retailers, and for good reason. That totally makes sense, but Amazon's capable of handling that. Now, let's talk about some challenges when it comes to ordering your fabric and sewing supplies on Amazon. First of all, there is that continuous yardage challenge. So if you want to order continuous yardage for fabric, for most retailers, it became a little bit tricky because it's limited to 1 yard or 2 yard cuts. And that would certainly pose a challenge to a pattern like base clef that requires more yardage than that for completion. Another thing that was a challenge was the fabric specifics. Sometimes there were really limited details available. You couldn't really count on accurate product descriptions sometimes, and not having a place to go to kind of check in on customer reviews that felt really legitimate and connected to you, and seeing makes in that fabric for the patterns that you're planning to sew up yourself, like that is definitely a con on the Amazon side and a pro for ordering from an independent retailer. I personally deal with this, but another con for Amazon could be some really weird shipping times. It seemed like it was either available the next day, or if it was a different color or a different yardage cut, it was available in a month. So that's certainly not ideal with projects, and for me, some tight deadlines that I have. So another con. And next is the biggest con that I think that I have. And this is really the one that brought up like some feelings for me when it comes to the business side of it. And that is the lack of a personal touch. And the whole shopping experience is so impersonal and so removed from the small businesses that people that I know in real life work really hard to sustain. So as with any other industry, we all go through ups and downs. Amazon's probably gonna make it through most of those. But for today's fabric, online independent fabric shop, each purchase builds their viability. So these small businesses that we love, they are not going to be able to compete with a lot of the pricing or the perks that Amazon might offer. But I think it's important that we support them, because I want to live in a world that has small businesses. I know that people say sometimes like small businesses are like the backbone of the American economy. And I think that's really true, especially in my life. Like my dad, Tammy and my dad, he owns a small business that has just really developed and grown over the years, and we're so thankful for it. And Tammy's small business has grown and has transformed lives. And so I love being able to support people who are independently trying to support their families. And I love putting dollars behind places that provide a real personal touch to the experiences. So while some third-party retailers might be able to put in some personal touches into their products, and I don't blame anybody as a third-party retailer for using Amazon as a platform, but Amazon in general is not quite going to give the same feeling to me personally as shopping at a small business. And so I think that is a huge con in the Amazon system. I am overwhelmed with options. I feel no connection to the fabric, to the ideas that are suggested, to the specifics of those pieces that are being shown to me. And it's so unlike what I feel when I see a small fabric company online that is like literally emailing with me, that is literally finding me pieces that I have been looking for. So that personal touch where you've got like a curated collection of things that somebody in real life that I know has sewn and put together, I can trust that. And I think that there is, while their prices might be a little bit higher, I think it's worth that. And buying on Amazon might be something that I do in the future. I'm not going to say I'm never going to again, but I really plan to spend more money on small independent retailers than those. Jeff Bezos doesn't really care, like each individual order doesn't matter to Jeff Bezos, but it does matter to a small independent company. So that for sure is something to consider as a con when it comes to buying from Amazon. So I ordered grommets and canvas fabric and lining fabric and drawstrings and grommet, like all of these little things, twill tape. I don't regret purchasing those things, and I like that they were affordable, and I don't think there's anything wrong with shopping at Amazon for some go-to little things, but I definitely plan on buying my fabric at different places from independent retailers in the future. So what is your take on this shopping for sewing supplies on Amazon topic? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts, and I'd love to see them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into fabric shopping on Amazon, make sure that you give it a little bit of a like and subscribe for more. And be sure to not forget to check out the Love Notions base and treble clef sewing patterns. They are on sale until March 11th, where you can get them for $3 off during their release week. And until next time, happy sewing.